welcome back to Rydon Africa, the place where we make web development easy and fun. I'm Fred, and today we have an exciting tutorial lined up for you. We're going to dive into the basics of web development by creating a simple yet engaging project using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So whether you're a complete beginner or looking forward to refresh your skills, you're in the right place. So let's jump right in. So before we begin, let's quickly go over what we'll cover in today's tutorial. First, we're going to start by setting up our project and creating the basic structure using HTML. Then we'll make it visually appealing with some styling using CSS. And finally, we're going to add some interactive elements and functionality using JavaScript. So by the end of this tutorial, you have a solid understanding of the fundamental trio in web development. Alright, let's get started. So before we start doing web development, we need what is called a development environment. And a development environment is basically comprised of one thing, and what we need is a text editor. So for this video, I'm going to be using Visual Studio Code. So Visual Studio Code is an open source code editor with integrated JIT, debugging, and extensions. So you can head up to code.visualstudio.com and go download Visual Studio Code. It's available in packages for Windows, Linux, and Mac. I'm going to be using this, so you all can pause the video now and download yours. Once you have done that, let's move on to the next step. So our journey with HTML begins. So the backbone of web development, which is HTML, helps us to structure the content on our web page. I have gone ahead now to create a new folder for our project, and I named it my web dev folder. So I'm just going to open my VSCode, and I'm going to click on open folder. And I'm going to go where my folder is located, and I'm going to select it, which is this. Now let me maximize this, and inside it now I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to name it index.html. Let me just close this welcome page, and once it opens up my file, I'm just going to add an exclamation mark. Let me wait a little for it to process this exclamation mark, or I could rewrite it again. Yes, and now that I hit enter, it gives me my doctype.html declaration, which is this. It gives me my HTML element, and it gives me my head and body section. So basically my head section contains meta information, while my body section is where my content is going to be going to. So let's add some essential elements to our body. So we're going to create a header, a main section, and a footer. These are standard sections which you will find in many websites today. So what I'm just going to do here, inside my body, I'm just going to write header, and I'm going to select this. Under my header, I am going to put my main. And after this, I am going to put my footer. So now I've set it up. Now I'm going to just change the title of this to web dev project. And inside my header, I'm going to write H1, not I, H1. And I'm just going to say welcome to our web dev project. So in my main, I want to create a lyrics a music lyric website. So inside my main, I'm just going to put h1 and I'll write Shivers because I love Shivers. It's a song by Ed Sheeran. So I'm just going to put dash Ed Sheeran. Now under this, I'm going to put a p tag for my paragraph. I'm going to explain this again. Now I want to go ahead and search for the lyrics to Shivers because I do not know the lyrics of it. I'm just going to go search for it. And yeah, I'm just going to search for Shivers lyrics. So this is it. I'm just going to copy it. Copy this. Going to go back in my VSCode. I'm going to paste this right here. Now, if I save this, it's going to join this all up. But I don't want it to be like this. I don't want it to appear like this. So very soon we're going to open up our folder and we're going to make it a little bit more beautiful and visually appealing. But firstly, let's settle our footer issue. So now in our footer, we're just going to put a p tag and we're going to write and copy (2023) the name of our project, which is Web Dev 101. All rights reserved. And I'm just going to add full stop here to make it look a little bit more professional. And under full stop here. So with our basic structure in place, let's move on to the next step. So now I want to add a cover photo, that's an image, and a video into this. So what I can do now is, before my lyrics, I can choose to add that before my lyrics or after my lyrics, but I want it before the lyrics. So I'm just going to go ahead now and add an image tag. So it's going to tell me the source, which is the name of the file I want to add as an image, and the alternate, that is, if the person is offline, what are they going to see? So I want to put the alternate as cover photo. Now let me add my file here, which is going to be this here, this file here, and it's just going to open it up. Now I'm going to close this and I'm going to write the source as the name of the file, coverpic.jpg. So now to open up our HTML file, we need what is called an extension that is called a live server. So you can go ahead and head on to our extensions here. I have mine installed already, so I'm just going to show you all, and you all can go and search it out and install it. So our live server basically looks like this. We could use it to open up our HTML file in our browser without needing to close it and reopen it every time, because it has a live reload feature. So let's head on back to our file explorer, and now I'm going to click on this and I'll tap open with live server. So it's just going to basically open this up in my web browser, and now we see this. Our picture is basically bigger than our website, how it looks, and doesn't look too visually appealing, right? So now we're just going to close this tab and we're going to be editing this. I'm not going to close this. I'm just going to be editing it live. So now I'm going to change this p tag to make my lyrics look a little bit more long. I'll make it a pre. So what a pre does is make it a pre-formatted tag. It looks exactly how you wrote it in your code editor. So I'm just going to name this pre. Yes. And now for our song, our image, I'm going to put the width as equals to 300 pixels. Now I want to add a video before this, so I can go ahead and add a video tag. Now it's going to ask me the source of my video. So now I'm just going to import this, which is the video name, into my folder. Now that it's here, I can choose to name it. Now I've chosen this. So now once we open up our web browser, we're going to see this, and it basically looks messed up right now. Doesn't look too beautiful and visually appealing, but we're going to handle that very soon. So what we want to do is we want to create controls for this video. So what I'm going to do is click autoplay, muted, loop, and controls. So maybe this will make it. Yes. Now we can choose to move on to the part we like. I want to play it.
I never kissed a mouth that tastes like yours. Strawberries and
we can choose to pause it. We can choose to play it.
Oh yeah, I want it all. On the backseat in the moon.
Okay, now that we're done with our HTML, let's go and make it visually appealing with some CSS. Now that we have the skeleton of our project, let's make it visually appealing with CSS. So I've gone ahead now and created my CSS file. You all can go here now and create your own file. And make sure you end it with .css for our code editor to acknowledge that it's a CSS file. So now I want to link my CSS file to my HTML. So before my title, I'm just going to write link. I'm going to hit enter. And in my href, what I want to write is styles.css. If you are not getting this link snippet or none of the snippets, just head on to your extensions and search for HTML CSS support. So this is basically it. When you install this, then you'll be getting all the code snippets for this. Now let's go back. Once we have done that, let's just save this and go into our CSS file and start editing. So first thing I'm going to do, we are going to make some basic styling for our header, our main section, and our footer. So what I want is for my body, curly bracket, I want my font family to be Sejowi UI. And I'm going to remove Geneva. Now next, I want my margin to be 0. I want my padding also to be 0. And I want my box sizing to be a border box. And I want my header to have, I'm going to do design for my header now. And I want it to have a background color of #343. 198. That's the color I'm going to be using. And then our text color, which is just color, should be #FFF, which is white. And then our text should be aligned to the center. So I'm not going to write text align center. And our padding should be 1 EM. So this is all the design I'm going to be doing for our header. Now let's move on to our main section. Our main should have a max width of 800 pixels. And our margin should be 20 pixels auto. Now, I'm going to do some design for our footer. So our background color should be #000, which is black. And our text color should be FFF. Our text should be aligned to the center. And my padding should be 1 EM. So with these styles now, we have set the font, we have adjusted some spacing and added background colors to our header and footer. So let's see how it's going to look like. So I'm just going to check this out. And yes, it's looking beautiful right now. Now what I want to do is I want to make my music and my video not to be joined together. So I could go ahead and add a break tag to this. So let me just go to my index.html and put just BR. It's a self-closing tag, so no need of doing that. Let me just save this. Okay. Seems like I can't just do it like this. So let me change this to HR. HR meaning horizontal rule. That's looking a little much better. But I don't want my image to look that small. So I'm just going to change this to 500 pixels. And I'm going to save that. And when I check it out, it's looking big, but not as big as my image. So what can I do to my video? I can change the width of my video also to be the same as that of my image. Now they are looking perfectly. I could also set my background image of my website to be the cover photo which I use, but we'll leave that for the next tutorial. So we have basically made this look so amazing right now. So you all can feel free to customize these styles to your liking. I love it at this. So let's move on to the exciting part, which we are going to be adding functionality with JavaScript. Okay, JavaScript is the language that will bring our website to life. It basically adds interactivity and dynamic behavior. So I'm going to create a script.js file now, where inside it we are going to be adding all of our JavaScript code. So let's just link it before we can start. So before my title again, I'm going to add script. And I'm going to put inside the first tag, I'm going to write source, which is src, should be equal to the name of my JavaScript file, which is script.js. Okay, now that I've linked it, we can go ahead and start. So we want to add some interactivity. So we'll begin by adding a simple greeting message to our header when the page loads. So what we can do now is add documents.add event listener. then brackets, single quotes, DOM content loaded. And then after that, I want to add a comma. And then I'm going to write, I'm just going to go back here and I'm going to write function. And then we're just going to add a curly bracket. And we're going to hit this. I just want to delete the space. And then we're going to write const header. Header should be equal to document dot query selector open brackets single quotes header h1. And then we're just going to go back here and end this with a single column. And then under this, we're going to write header, and we're going to write header dot text content should be equal to, in single quotes, hello web developers, and end out with an exclamation mark. Now I want to end this with a single column and go down here and also end this again with a single column. So with this code, we are using our JavaScript to select our H1 elements in the header and change its text content. Now let's add the basic interactive feature to our main section. So now I'm going to write documents dot add event listener in brackets single quotes DOM content loaded. After this, I want to add a comma. I just want to change something, single quotes DOM content loaded. Now I add a comma. Now here I want to write function brackets and then want to add some curly brackets. Let me do this. Yes. Make sure they are both joined together so as to clear any error. So under this, I want to write const main, which is constant main, should be equal to document.query selector open brackets single quotes main. Now let's end this with our single column. And then we can go ahead and write main dot add event listener in brackets single quotes click. And then after that, let's add our comma. Let's write function let me space this function and our function should be alert single quotes you clicked on our main section. So let's end this with a single column. Let's do the space for this and end it with a single column, and also end this again with a single column. So in this code, we're adding an event listener to the main section. So when we click on it, you'll see an alert with the message you clicked on our main section. So now let's check it out. So if I head on to my web browser, you can see on our HTML file, we stored the H1 to welcome to our web dev project. And here we wrote hello web developers, and it shows hello web developers when we get inside. And when we click on this, it shows we clicked on our main section. Okay, so there we have it. We have created a simple yet engaging web development project using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. We started by setting up the HTML structure, and we added some stylish flair with our CSS, and we brought up our project to life with JavaScript interactivity. I hope you found this tutorial helpful and that it sparks your interest in the incredible world of web development. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more tutorials, and leave a comment if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos. Happy coding, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.